All right, guys. In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the important principles of curriculum design. And I'm going to share with you some of the lessons that I've learned over the years, specifically because over the next few weeks, curriculum development is going to be a very central part of what we're going to be doing. We want to get a few of the major curricula up and running. The question that Chelsea asks, I think she puts it really nicely, is what is the smallest, most basic thing that someone can get stuck on? If we can find out what that thing is and make sure that everybody is unstuck on that, we now have a building block. We have somewhere to start. And this is something that you'll see in every single subject. If you, those of you guys who are going to be doing calculus tutoring and calculus work in the group classes, you're going to notice that people who come to us in March and April and even May, the biggest issues they're going to have is going to be that they simply won't know that the derivative tells you the slope of a tangent line. So in other words, the entire basis of all of differential calculus, which then forms the base of all of integral calculus, they simply won't know that. They will have heard it, but they won't get the significance. They won't really know what it means because in their class that day when that idea was being presented, it didn't really click. So a lot of the calculus curriculum is going to focus on making sure that people understand this idea of the slope of a secant line, slope of a tangent line, etc. Now, one of the areas that we've really been struggling for a few years is that many students, well, most of our students can certainly sound out the words when they're reading, and many get straight A's in English classes. Many seem to be just missing something when it comes to the SAT. And, having been focusing a lot on reading tutoring for the last couple of years specifically, Chelsea and I have noticed that one of the areas is that people simply don't get the idea that words can be used to persuade. Their understanding of political persuasion is something like a presidential debate, which is, basically a way to get your team riled up, and you're not going to convince anybody over there. So they don't understand the idea that persuasion can be subtle. So I want to go through just a couple highlights in this worksheet that I made. It's an initial sketch. So this worksheet is called Persuasion World, and this worksheet, I introduced the idea of this alternative reality of this world called Persuasion World, where everyone's trying to convince people of something. Everyone has some kind of secret agenda. And so if they write a textbook about something, they're going to be trying to push some kind of hidden agenda. If they're writing anything, they're going to be pushing some kind of hidden agenda. And we explored the idea of what that would look like. And now, of course, most of you guys reading this, hearing this are like, yeah, well, that's just Earth. I mean, that's what you do. Like, things have hidden agendas, and people push political agendas and other type of agendas, personal agendas, value system agendas throughout all kinds of things. But here's the thing. Many teenagers simply don't know that. Maybe you did as a teenager because, if you're working at Vor Method, you're probably in the top half percentile of intelligence. But many people simply don't know that. So when they see a lot of these SAT passages, they're just totally puzzled by what's happening. So the way that we get into this is explain some ideas that might be obvious to us, right? The idea that if you want to be persuasive, you actually want to seem neutral. That's a new idea for a lot of students. Students I've been working with in tutoring. And remember, these aren't students who are doing poorly in school. They're mostly getting straight A's. And we'll see that when students don't have this understanding, it can build up, and there'll be an AP history classes, AP English classes, all that kind of stuff, and not really be getting anything out of what they're reading because they're missing something so critical. In this case, the idea that you can try to appear unbiased while trying to persuade somebody. So we go through a lot of different things. I want to show you some of the highlights and how far we push the boundaries over here, because we really want to wake people up out of this idea that because an authority says something, that it's automatically true. Think about what that does to people on the SAT, by the way. If you're reading the SAT in this non-critical way, and you're looking at an answer choice, any answer choice that's presented authoritatively enough, you're going to think is right. And so often students will be like, oh, I don't totally get those words, but that answer choice sounds smart, so I'm going to pick that one, even though it's a nonsense answer choice. And some of that, of course, is vocabulary, but a lot of it, and you're going to be just amazed, those of you who are doing reading work in group class or whatever, you're going to be amazed at how far this can really go. I mean, it's even to me, when I started learning about this, it was honestly shocking. So here's a few things that we do to really push the boundaries. Well, first we have some rhetorical questions and all that kind of stuff. Now over here, we put in this passage. Now this passage, we're going to put in the passage, and then we ask them how biased do they think it is. And this is the sort of aha moment, the wake-up call. This passage is from Mein Kampf. It is not an unbiased passage. It is from, one of the most, kind of politically disgusting works of writing in human history. If you don't know what Mein Kampf is, this is a book that Adolf Hitler wrote while he was in jail that later led to all the things that he did. So when people read this passage, most students will say that its level of bias is somewhere between 0 and 2. When they then realize that this is something written by Hitler, they're just like, whoa, what just happened? I thought they're expecting it to be kind of foaming at the mouth, ranting and raving. They don't get the idea that if you want to be persuasive, you need to come across as neutral. And I've been doing this particular wake-up moment with quite a few students with pretty interesting results. The reason that I bring up this particular thing is for people like us who are, into academics, into ideas and whatnot. When we write curricula, the initial rookie mistake, and I made this mistake, Chelsea mistake, everyone's going to make this mistake. Even with this warning, everyone's going to make this mistake. The error is to try to share with the student what you would have shared to the idealized version of yourself when you were that age. So you want to take someone who basically gets chemistry and show them some cool nuances, someone who basically gets physics and show them some cool nuances. All that's totally wrong. Think about this. The issues that we have with calculus are that people simply don't know that a derivative has the slope of a tangent line. With reading, it's that people simply don't know that you can use a calm tone to try to persuade. With physics, the biggest issue that we see is people simply don't understand ideas of relative motions and vectors like at all, and they're trying to do all this advanced stuff. They just don't get that idea at all. They simply, when it comes to the E&M. The issue that they have is they simply don't understand that voltage is energy per electron. They don't get that idea at all. So to them, voltage is this abstract, meaningless concept. Calculus is just a bunch of abstract, meaningless concept. Reading is a bunch of abstract, meaningless information that they can't connect to. And so what we need to do is look at the smallest, most fundamental piece that a person could possibly be ever stuck on. That's going to be the starting point of the curriculum. And I'll be having more discussions about this, talking about reverse Turing test and all that kind of stuff. But right now, I really want you to think about designing a curriculum comes down to what is the smallest, most obvious thing that a person theoretically could get stuck on. Start there and build from there. And that's what we've seen works in so many of the newer curriculum that are actually getting the job done in ways that no previous generation curriculum ever was really able to.